Good afternoon, family. This is Reggie Holder, Elder Reggie, here with another edition of Man Up Moments with Elder Reggie. This is a new and different venue for me. Now, as some of you may have been looking for me on the radio this past Tuesday, we have switched that venue and we're going to be solely here on social media. They'll be on both Facebook Live and other YouTube Live and the YouTube channel. So go to the YouTube channel. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Reginald Holder Ministries. All my social media is under Reginald Holder Ministries, both Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and on the YouTube channel. So the videos will be on the YouTube channel, and shortly everything will be live where there can be both comments and thumbs up and all those things where you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, make comments to also give me other subjects that you are interested in, other things that are facing you, and things that you are concerned about or would like to hear more in depth about. Also, while we're here, we'll just start it from the beginning. I want you to go to the website, Reginald Holder Ministries, pick up the book, As One Like Christ and the Church, As One Like Christ and the Church. It's on Reginald Holder Ministries on the website, also at Amazon.com under As One Like Christ and the Church. Some people have asked what was the premise of the book. Well, very simply, I wanted to know, and I was asking the question, what does that look like? For a man and a woman, for a husband and wife to be as one, what does that look like? And this book was born. And from that, we made it a nice quick read so that men can read it. We know ladies read. The world tells us that men don't read. I say that's a lie because we do read. But I did want to make it a quick, short read, just right to the point, being very practical. So please pick up the book, As One Like Christ and the Church. Again, on the website, Reginald Holder Ministries, or at Amazon.com. Last night late, I asked a quick question and kind of on a poll. Thank you, Diane Thompson Minor, for tuning in. But I asked a quick poll and poll question, and some people asked. It was on Instagram, and I believe I put it on Facebook. But the question was, how important is dad to you in the home? Actually, it was meant for those 35 and younger. And I want to hit that again today, and that is to ask you just how important is dad in the home? Is dad important to you? Is dad being in the home important? And the reason I'm talking to the 35s and younger is because in light of the tragedy with the helicopter crash of Kobe Bryant and those other 8 who tragically lost their lives, a lot has been said that Kobe was in this second part of his life. He's a 41-year-old young man and just beginning to truly walk into dadhood, fatherhood, and being that dad who was very present. I know that he had done a lot before that to be present because of his schedule, which was part of the reason he traveled in helicopters. And I won't go into all of that. Some of you have read those stories. It has been easily to find the facts about that. But with that, I was thinking he's 41 years old, but so many of the young men who were speaking on it, and so many of the young men that I see when it's, especially from sports, watching sports, and even in acting, with all this being the award season. So you see so many award shows. So many of these young men don't have fathers with their achievements. Now, young men have always, especially those in football, have always, when they get that interview, have always said, "Hi, Mom." Now, that's even when dad was in the home, when dad was present, when dad was even his little league coach and things like that. He've always said, "Hi, Mom." Ron Crutcher, I see you, brother. Good to see you. But the question, because of that age group, I really want to hear from that age group and want to know just how important it is to you, because this is what's happening now. There are so many young fathers who are being something that they never had an example of. They are living out something that was never lived out in front of them. Jay, good to see you. They are having to be a husband and a father when an example of a husband and a father was never laid out to them. So many of these young men, the largest father figure they've seen, or most consistent father figure they ever seen, was that of a coach. Was that of a coach? There are some in the arts, and the closest thing they saw may have been an instructor, a instrument instructor, or someone who was also an actor and did those things, or a dancer, because there's nothing wrong with any of those professions. But that's where their identification came from. So now there are so many young ladies who are out there trying to figure out, is this man treating me right, or is he guiding me right? Is he even trying to, attempting to lead the family? And if if so, is he doing it the right way? Are these the things that a man should have? And especially there's so much conflict when, for the young lady, if in her life, and I do say if in her life, the father was in the house, so now she had an example, but she married a young man who did not have an example. But I know it's basically even across the board. And I'm coming from an example of this in 1 Samuel chapter 17. It's the story of David, and as he fought Goliath, and David is coming back from that battle. After he's fought Goliath, after he's won the battle, after he's cut his head off with his own sword, and there's so much richness in all of that. But he went to him with a sling and a rag and a rock, basically. Hit him in the head with it. Took his own sword, cut his head off. He was bringing it to present it to King Saul. Now King Saul had already spoken with David because he had asked him, or would he prefer his armor? He tried to give Saul his armor, and David refused it. But in this point, toward the end of the chapter, the very end of chapter 17, verse 57, it says, as soon as David returned from killing the Philistine, Abner took him and brought him before Saul, with David still holding the Philistine's head. Now, y'all want to look at some good stuff, read your Bible. I'm telling you, if we read our Bible, we get some good stuff. With David still holding the Philistine's head, and Saul asked him, he said, whose son are you, young man? Whose son are you? Because it was a big deal, and it's still a big deal. Whose son are you? David said, I am the son of your servant Jesse, the Bethlehemite. I am the son of your servant Jesse. The tragedy right now is that so many young men and so many young women, if they're asked that question, whose son are you? There is no man in place, and there has been no man in place for them to honor by saying, I am the son of this man. They will mostly have to refer to the mother who raised them. And for some, even the grandparents who raised them. And my question is, how important is that to you? How important is knowing your father? Do you value that today? Is it value? Is it something that you feel is of great value? Is it something that is missed? And I want you to go to YouTube, and you find where I posted the poll. Go to Instagram and answer that poll. Answer, is it something that is very important? Is it something you can just do without? You've done without it, and you can do without it. See, I contend that there is a lot of hurt out there. There's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of of self-examination and self-release that needs to be done. That needs to be done for the young man, for the young lady who is 35 and under. And there are even more. There are others. There are others that are older than that. But I'll say this. I am be 60 years old in a couple of months. And I know in my growing up, it was odd, very odd, for one of my friends not to know his father. More so than that, it was very odd for one of my friends not to even, for his father not to be in the home with him. Very odd. Very odd. And I understand times change and things move on. The sad case here, though, is the same statistics that fit the world are the same statistics that are fitting the church. So instead of the men and women in the church being the leaders and taking the lead and fighting through and walking in long suffering and kindness and forgiveness and being able to stay together for the long haul, as our parents and grandparents did, we give up the same way anyone else does. Those out there without hope, we give up the same way. And what I want to admonish you to do, those of you who don't know your father, those of you who have an estranged or a separated relationship with your father, first thing I want to tell you to do is find it in your heart to be able to forgive him. To forgive him so that you are released. Set yourself free. Set yourself free by forgiving him. I'm not saying that you forget everything that he's ever done. That's a tough thing to do. You forget the things he didn't do, much less the things he did do. The feelings that you had when it was your mom or one of the guys down the street that had to teach you to ride a bicycle. When it was an uncle who you wasn't even sure was your uncle to show you how to put a belt on. I do some work with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and with one of the schools here in the inner city. And one of the coaches told me, he said, Elder Reggie, so many of these young men don't even own a belt. They don't own a belt. Much less do they know how to wear one. They don't own a belt. I don't come down on these young men at all. Matter of fact, my position is simply to lift them up and encourage them and teach them because there's so much that they don't know. To think about it, something that's not a big deal to a lady, but what's a huge deal to a man is when you have to go to that event that calls for a necktie and you've never had one on your neck. You've never tied a necktie. You've never had anyone to show you to tie a necktie. When it's time to shave and you have no clue what to purchase from the store. You don't know what to pick up because there was no one there to show you, no one there to guide you, no one there to be an example for you, no one there that you could just look up to as he went through his routine so that you could gain a routine. There's so many small things, so many small things. No one there for you to prove yourself to, for you to prove that I can handle it. See, every young man wants that moment of that rite of passage when he says to dad or he says to that authority figure, I got this. And that person steps back and says, all right, let me see what you got. And he handles it and he does it. He takes the responsibility. He does the job. He completes the task. He does whatever it was that was facing him. But that moment, he said, I got this. So many of our young men especially, have never had that rite of passage. Never had that rite of passage. And yes, they deserve it. So many of our young ladies have never had that father to be the one to tell them how beautiful they are, how special they are, how precious they are, that they are a queen. Now, they are a queen now. Not becoming, they are a queen. If they're never a queen to anybody else, they're his queen. You're always my girl. Always. Will never change. So many of our young ladies need that. They have to have it. If not, they do so many things out there. This is not to bash anybody, not to cut down anybody, not to give anybody, not to say what everybody's reasons for doing anything. I really simply want to know. And I want you to, even from this post, to make comments here, or go to, again, as I said, on both Instagram and on Facebook, to go to them and answer the poll. How important is it to have dad in the home today? Is it something very important to you? Or is it something you can do without? Or to have dad in your life. I do believe that's the way I phrase it. Just to have dad in your life, where you know where he is. See, I don't see my dad every day, but I know where he is. I know I can go talk to him. I know I can call him and talk to him. Even at 60 years old, the comfort, or 60 in a couple months, the comfort that brings me, just knowing that he's there. Knowing that the foundation that God placed for me to rise up on this side, other than the foundation of Christ, but the foundation of manhood, that foundation is still there. In that person, still alive. I can touch him. A lot of my friends that I went to school with, they've lost parents over the last few years. We're at that age that, our parents are passing on because they're up there. They're 70s, they're 80s, they're getting, close to their 90s, all those things. But those brothers especially have come on here and, come on social media and expressed just what mom and dad meant to them. But especially touching is when they can talk about what dad still means, not what he meant, what he still means. So I want you guys, please go to my channel, go to the YouTube channel, go to all my social media pages and answer that. Give me some feedback on it. How important is it to have dad in the home? Even moms out there, you're a single mom, you're raising that family by yourself, you holding it down, you're doing the doggone thing, as a buddy of mine would say. You pushing hard, you're out there on your grind to give those children all that you can give them. Even you answer, just how important do you think it is? Not about how good or bad of a person he was or he is and the things he's done and all that, but do you see a place for the husband, the man, the dad, the father in the life of your children? So again, I'm going to cut this off right now. I'm not going to be one of those to come on here ever, hopefully ever, and be on here 2 hours and 3 hours and keep people that long. I know our time is precious. It's our most prized possession is our time. So again, like my page, go in and subscribe to the Reginald Holder Ministries YouTube channel. Also go to the website again, purchase the book As One, Like Christ and the Church, both from the Reginald Holder Ministries website and on Amazon. I thank you so much for giving me some time. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. And for those who will view this at a later date, God bless you and God forever keep you.